You're listening to episode 10 of the Dogs Are People Too podcast, presented by Dingle Days. I'm your host, Geryah Dingle, and I believe that anything can be learned. If you believe that's true as well, then keep listening because it's the #1 show to dive into serial learning and bring you the best tips, strategies, and technologies for pet parents. Today on the show, we're being joined by Tori. She is an influencer, educator, and podcaster, and founder of the award-winning dog lifestyle brand Wear Wag Repeat. Her mission is to help women live their best life with their dogs. And today we're talking about how to create Instagram-worthy content in 2021 with your dogs. Enjoy the show.
Tori, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing really good, although it is freezing here where I am today. But other than that, doing good.
Yeah, I've seen the news and there's like sweeping snowstorms going across the country and just ridiculous temperatures that aren't normal. So I just appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. But for our audience who may not be as familiar with you, I know we met on Clubhouse, which is an excellent audio only chat that's allowed me to reach out to a lot of folks in the dog industry business. But could you just tell the audience a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really excited to chat. So my name, like you said, is Tori Mystic. I am a dog mom to 2 chocolate labs, Bert and Lucy. They have a lot of followers on the internet. I guess we all do together. It's a team effort. But I've been a dog mom blogger for about 8 years on my blog, wearwagrepeat.com. And I blog about all different kinds of things that I think will help you create the best life possible with your dog. And I've been doing that for so long. People started to ask me, how did you build your Instagram following? How did you build your blog traffic? All this stuff. So I started to offer some educational resources for petpreneurs and pupfluencers as well. So now I have online courses and an online membership program for people who want to work with their dogs.
And that's so amazing. When I saw that, I was like, wow, I have to have her on the show. I need to talk more. And I just think it would be such great value added to our audience. Obviously, we have mom and dad dog parents, but just your expertise and experience, I mean, just being featured in so many different places in the social media and marketing space formally, right? And dipping your foot into that. And that's just so great. So today, the main topic of the show is Instafamous in 2021, how to create Instagram-worthy content today. From a dog parent's perspective, there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of shifts. I'm personally thinking about dipping my feet a little bit into the Instagram space. I'm a big believer in focusing in on a single platform and kind of getting that going. As the YouTube channel is growing, we're starting to reach out more and more. And I personally love, and I know Instagram is moving a little bit more towards, I won't say it's video centric, but it's definitely a lot more video focused than it has been in the past, particularly with the onset of TikTok. And now we have Reels that are taking up so much time now to be competitive in this space and the different types of content that you can produce with regard to that. And I know you have some courses that gear towards that, but just with that ever increasing fight for attention, we know they're trying to keep folks on the platform. There's advertising money behind this. What's your perspective with regard to what can pet parents do in the Instagram space as far as Instagram-worthy content, keeping people on the platform from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on so many great things just now. I mean, video is huge. If you're not doing any kind of video, just get out of your comfort zone and do it. I know everyone watching this has videos of their dog on their phone. So it's just a matter of kind of thinking about how you can utilize those on Instagram and on other platforms. Because kind of like the neat thing about TikTok kind of exploding in growth in the last year is that these like TikTok celebrities have emerged and they are unpolished. They are just people at home. Oftentimes there is like little to no editing done in their videos. Some people do like elaborate videos and they're amazing. But then there's like this whole other slew of people who just like off the cuff record stuff and it's not perfect at all. And they let their personalities shine. And whether it's them or their dogs, and they let their imperfections show. And they have amassed millions of followers and millions of views and likes and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of seems to be like, if I were looking at this in a critical way, that seems to be like the trend. I think if you wanted to kind of like get ahead of the trend or get on it while it's going, is to just be like really authentic, honest, show your imperfections, show people the real side of you. I think that those picture perfect Instagram posts that are these like photoshopped amazing images.
I'm standing on a ledge out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think those are kind of like, I don't know, they're not cool anymore. People don't want to see that. They don't want to see this elaborate production. They want to see like what you're actually doing. And I was just watching a video last night that made me laugh so hard on TikTok. A woman was trying to show how she mixes like her protein powder into water, and she had one of those like handheld frother
Little
mixer thingies. Well, as she was pouring the protein powder in, it went like everywhere. And then she couldn't get the button to work on the frother. And then she stuck it in and then she pulled it out, and then it turned on and the stuff went flying everywhere. And then she put it in the bottle or in the cup and let go, and it was like rattling around. And it was like most people would have deleted that. They would have been like, "Oh my God, this was horrible. I need to clean up. I need to redo it." But she hit publish and it was so funny. So, if you can just let yourself go and share those mess ups, I think that that's kind of like the way of the future for social media.
I mean, that sounds so real, right? I mean, going to get the dog food and the food flies all over the place, or however you do it, if you do solids or fresh dog food. But like, yeah, keeping those real moments. Just for a second, I am going to backtrack a little bit because I'm making the assumption that everybody's kind of familiar with the platform. So let's assume everybody knows what, generally speaking, Instagram is. But let's break down a little bit the types of engagement, I guess you could say, from maybe the most generic to probably what Instagram would place a little bit more emphasis on. So I think everybody's kind of familiar, generally speaking, with a like, with a comment, and then maybe something more extreme like a share, right? Because that might take a little bit more onus on the individual. Can you talk about those maybe and how that might influence how your content is being pushed on the platform?
Yeah, sure. So Instagram knows everything that we're doing. So even if you don't take an action and you just stop and look at something for an extended period of time, it knows that you did that. So just be aware of that. Not that it's going to like get you in trouble or anything, but even if you're not getting a ton of likes or comments on your posts, it doesn't mean that people aren't seeing it. Instagram knows when people pause and read something or pause and look at a video. And I think that's why videos are taking over so much, because you can't just swipe and swipe and swipe. You need to pause for a second to see what the video is about. So it does keep people on your content a little bit longer when you're doing videos. But of course, people can like anything on Instagram. People can comment on anything on Instagram. And then if you hit the little paper airplane icon in the bottom right corner of almost everything, you can share it. And that share either means you DM it to someone, to a friend, to be like, "Hey, you have to see this. This is amazing." Or maybe you share it to your own stories, where that would be sharing it with all of your friends to tell all of your friends, "Hey, you got to see this. This is amazing." So as a content creator, I want people to share my content to their stories, because then not only will my followers see it, but if you share it to your stories, your followers will see it. And, it just magnifies from there, the more people who share it. There's another element called saves, which people don't talk about as often. I use saves a lot to keep track of like accounts that I love or artists that I love or something like that. But I just saw a content creator with dogs the other day. She was like, "If it's less than 65 degrees where you are, save this post." So she was trying to encourage people to hit that save button, because in Instagram's eyes, the more saves you get on a post, Instagram's like, "Wow, this person is providing amazing value. People are like dying to get this." So getting more saves and more shares, they're just like, Instagram just thinks people love you more.
Yeah, I mean, because that takes a little bit of extra effort, right? And that's kind of telling the algorithm, if you would. And it's amazing how much we speak in this language now. Algorithms, everybody's familiar with the algorithm. That's telling them like, "Hey, I want
the algorithm." Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
My mom, literally, she was like, "You always talking about these algorithms." I was like, I know. It's life these days. But yeah, that's saying, "Hey, I'm trying to keep up with this. This is something I want to keep track of." Before we kind of dive into like maybe the different types of video and the different types of content you can put up a little bit more, maybe just a little bit about your approach, because I'm going to balance this with the social media aspects and then like how this applies to like our pet lovers, right? Our dog families here. So knowing what we know and being mm, as authentic as we can be, what seems to be working? Like, is it like if you want to use your dog to be insta famous, if that's like your goal, right? You're not just like the casual user, you're trying to grow a following. What seems to be resonating you see in the pet space?
Yeah, so a ton of pet accounts that I keep track of and chat with like on the side. Everyone's been doing a lot of reels. So again, bringing it back to the video, but I've been working I was a social media consultant for like 12 years before I started doing Wear Wag Repeat full time 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
I've been working in social media for like almost 15 years, which is just crazy. Um but what I've seen over that time is whenever you kind of adapt and try the new feature, the
Mhm.
apps reward you. So, like Facebook right now, they're really pushing groups and the community aspect. So they're going to always be recommending groups to other people in other groups. And like they're trying to get everyone to join groups. So, but if you go on Instagram, they're really pushing reels. If you think about it, they've invested millions of dollars in developing reels. So if you use it, they're like, oh yes, yeah, our thing is working. People are liking it. Like let's boost them up. So the more that you use kind of like the new features, I think that there's a better chance of you like going viral. So I've just heard from a lot of people with dog accounts and pet accounts, like Petfluencers, if you will, that a lot of them have unexpectedly gotten 10,000 views or a million views on a reel, whereas on a regular post, like we're never going to get a million likes on a regular post. So that's what I'm hearing from people who are just like straight pet accounts, is that doing the reels has been really successful. And if you're kind of wondering like, well, what should I post on reels? The ones that tend to kind of like go viral usually are participating in some kind of a trend. So there's usually like some kind of audio that everyone's reusing that's like funny in some way, or some other kind of visual trend or something like that. There was one that I thought was really funny that I know a couple of dogs went viral with, but it was like a dog looking down at the phone and it was like the FaceTime ringtone. And it was like, I'm calling grandma to tell her that mom's not giving me enough treats or something like that. And a lot of dogs got a lot of views using that trend.
I mean, that makes so much sense, right? And it's really funny because all these platforms are seemingly trying to replicate what works on TikTok. And I know a lot of folks will even just start with what went viral on TikTok. And I'm not saying replicate it one for one, but at least from my space, like I said, I'm probably going to go ahead and jump into Instagram. But I think I kind of got my routines down with YouTube. But the thing you kind of pointed at was like, hey, when you're an early adopter for some of these things, a lot of times back to that whole algorithm, it favors that. So on YouTube, for instance, we just started jumping in the shorts a couple weeks ago. And like the first video we did had like, and like for my channel, right, it had like 2,300 views, but that was like in the first couple of days. And it was like, was there anything particularly special about it? I mean, we were answering like one specific question, and it could be like entertainment, or it could be like a, hey, here's how to, people are looking for something. For us, it was something to do with like cleaning up contamination. I work a lot in the K9 scent workspace for some of the things we touch on the channel. But from the Instagram perspective, their short form content, if you would, right now, is they're trying to have everybody lean pretty heavily, like you said, based on that investment in reels. But when we compare the different types of content, maybe just briefly, just maybe like some of your perspectives on infeed posts versus stories versus IGTV, which somebody please tell me the purpose of IGTV. And obviously we touched a little bit on reels already, just maybe comparing those a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that about IGTV, because I think that sometimes these apps, they don't really know what the point of some of it is either. And they always kind of change it. Like they make changes to things all the time. So recently, they've made a lot of changes to the length of videos that you can do on IGTV. And when you do an IG Live, you can now upload it directly as an IGTV like that second. You can't save your IG lives for 24. Like you used to be able to keep them up like they were stories. But now if you want anyone to see your IG live after it's been live, you have to post it as an IGTV. So it seems like Instagram was kind of trying to streamline and figure out where everything belonged themselves. Those are those two things. But the things that people do more often, I think that IGTV and IG Live are things that content creators do. But if you're just a regular pet parent posting about your dog, you're probably going to live more in your feed and your stories and reels. And those are kind of the things I would think about more if I were you. So in your feed, you can post photos. You can also post videos up to 1 minute. You can also do a carousel post. It's like a little photo album. And then of course you can do your stories. And kind of the best analogy that I've ever heard that I keep repeating about stories is that you have to think of it like an actual story, like a fairy tale almost, with like a beginning, a middle, and an end. So whenever I post the stories, I almost never post just one slide to my story. I almost always do at least 3 in a batch, because it's like a little story arc. If I want people to watch and be engaged, I have to do that. And kind of the cool thing about stories that makes it different than a fairy tale is that we can ask our viewers to participate. So you can do polls and quizzes and questions, and you can put like a DM me button, you can put a reaction slider, you can put a countdown clock. You can put all these interactive stickers that make it really, really cool. And you can have fun. You can be serious with it, or you can have a lot of fun with it. You could be like, what should I put in our Kong this week? Should we do pumpkin puree or applesauce? And let your followers choose. And, you could just have fun with it.
I love that. And the different perspectives. You touched real briefly. Let's dive a little bit into that carousel post, right? Because those have been getting a lot of engagement lately. It takes a little bit more time to curate, but once you have it all together, I find that a lot of folks are spending a little bit more time stopping on those.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned earlier about like with videos, it makes people have to stay on your post for like a couple more seconds. And in the eyes of the algorithm, Instagram's like, oh, people are pausing here. She's got something good to say. So with a carousel, it's the same thing, that they have to stop, and they don't have to, but if you want to see what's next, you have to stop and you have to slide through to the next one. You can do up to 10 photos in a carousel post. I usually just do like a couple. I don't usually use all 10, but like maybe up to 5 is what I would recommend. And you can kind of scroll through. And it's a great way, if you have a new dog, you could every month do one of these where you show how much bigger they're getting each month, swiping through the carousel. If you also just have like a lot of photos from one photo shoot and you can't narrow it down, you could share a bunch of them. I also love it for sharing bloopers and derpy faces. So I'll put like maybe the best one first and then like the total fail photo as the next one. And people do enjoy, I think, swiping through that. And another way that you can make it more interactive, and like think of interaction as a synonym for engagement. So I think people talk about engagement all the time, but don't always like understand what it is. So engagement means interaction. So if you want to make your post a little more interactive on your carousel post, again, you could ask people to choose, like, do you like photo 1, 2, or 3 better? And get them to comment below. So you can be kind of strategic with it.
That makes so much sense. And for a lot of our listeners or folks catching on the replay on YouTube, they might be thinking, this sounds like a lot of work for the curation process. Now, as someone who's been in the social media space and on multiple platforms, I don't know, what's your perspective on that when you hear somebody say, this sounds like a lot of work?
Well, I would say, yeah, you're right. It is a lot of work. And that's probably not the answer that you wanted to hear, because you wanted me to like wave a magic wand. I have so many fairy tale references today.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that it is a lot of work. And so I always recommend to people to be really clear on what it is that you want to get out of this. If you just want your dog to get a lot of likes, that's totally fine. But just be clear with that. If you want to eventually work with a brand and get some free stuff to review, or maybe get paid to post about something, then, just be clear with yourself about that, because the amount of time and effort that you put into this is just going to be different depending on what your goal is for it. If you just want it to be a fun place, then don't spend hours and hours and hours strategizing about it, because it won't be fun anymore. If you want it to grow into a business, then get smart and get strategic about it. And again, like, try to keep it fun. It is supposed to be fun. You know, you just have to know what it is that you're getting into. But there are ways that you can save time. For example, I would recommend staging a little photo shoot with your pet, where you can, like, maybe, since we're all a little bit quarantined right now, maybe you go in different rooms of your house or different areas of your neighborhood and take different photos. So they look a little bit different, but you just take them all. You set aside like an hour and do this. Then you've got enough photos to use for maybe a few weeks. And you can also make your captions. I know that writing captions is like a big pain point for a lot of people. They're like, oh my God, I never know what to write. They get like writer's block as soon as they pick up their phone. It's like, oh, now what do I say? You know, there's planning apps that you can use, but if you don't want to mess with that, you can just use the notes app on your phone and just keep track of like funny little things that come to mind, or caption ideas or movie quotes that you like. And again, when you're scrolling around on Instagram and you see a caption that you like, you can hit the save button and you could save all of those to a folder of captions I like and go there to look for inspiration too.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And I'm going to draw on what I know, right? YouTube. I brought you on as one of our Instagram experts, but a lot of stuff really does overlap. You know, if you're in the writing space, the last thing you want to see is a blank page. A lot of times I'll use the Bear apps to take a quick note if I'm just thinking about something, or I'll see something and I'll be like, that'd be a really cool like idea. So I never want to sit in front of this camera and be like, well, what are we going to make a video about today, Disney? Like, you know, and if we do, I'll just film whatever it is we're doing. And that kind of goes back in full circle with regard to just keeping it authentic. Sometimes I won't even intend to be shooting a video. It'll just be something for me. And I'll be like, oh, well, that was kind of interesting. We'll post that or whatever, or something that we're just trying to learn. Those are some of the really, I hate the word hacks, but yeah, kind of hacks or tools to kind of like help accelerate your progress a little bit. So yeah, I just bust out my phone anytime I'm thinking about something, or I see something, or maybe I was reading a blog, or maybe you ran across something, like you said, tapping into the trends, just write it down for later. Sometimes I've written entire bullet points or things I want to touch on, because you get on a roll. Just when you have the idea, I think just go ahead and write it down. So later, boom.
You're probably not going to remember it later. So write it down. Even if you think you will not, or you won't be able to get the phrasing like just right because you had it perfect when it was in your head. And I use another little hack that I like to use is using the dictation tool on my phone. So whatever app you're in, I think everything can do speech to text now. My hands start to hurt. Like, I'm not a super fast typer. Because I don't know, I feel like I'm so old, but I like to use the dictation tool a ton. So when I get like an idea, I'll just start rambling on my ideas, and then I can go back and edit it later. So that helps a lot.
That makes so much sense. Let's dive into some of the rewards might be for this. Like we said, let's start at the basic level, right? Like, your goal may just be to have fun with your dog, and that's perfectly okay. You know, share those pictures, share those videos, share those moments with the world or your family even, right? But if you wanted to take it to the next level, you mentioned briefly about potentially working with brands or something like that. Like, realistically, if somebody were seeking that, right, that's their goal. Can you speak to that a little bit and what that might look like for them?
Yeah, sure. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to backtrack it just a little bit, because there's also like another option, which I don't think gets discussed a lot, but I know is important to a lot of pet people, is supporting rescue and, you know, animal welfare things. So, you know, maybe the goal of your account is to just be more about awareness of, you know, different pet and dog related things, or maybe you have a rescue that you got your dog from and all you want to do is use your page to do fundraising for them. That's great. One of my friends, her account is called the Sunshine Dogs, and that's her goal, is to do fundraising for the animal shelter that she works with. So not every post is about that. Most of the posts are just cute photos of her dog or her training her dogs, or, you know, they got some like baby chicks on the farm and her dogs with those. So like every post is not about the shelter, but she posts about it frequently enough that, you know, people go and donate, or they buy swag and things like that to support the shelter. So that's also kind of like in the middle, I would say, of like these
kind of like being an ambassador, if you would, potentially for like a cause or something that you care deeply about, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really great reason to get into this. But then from there, if you want to work with brands, you know, and this is all great. I think every level of this is wonderful if that's what you want to do and it makes you happy. If you want to work with brands, you know, you don't have to have thousands of followers. I think that some people are concerned that they can't really reach out to a brand until they have, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 or 40,000, like whatever. The numbers don't necessarily mean a whole lot. Brands oftentimes might want to work with you because you take great photos, or, you know, they're interested because your dog is really unique, has a really unique challenge or something like that. You know, if you have like a three-legged dog, maybe this brand is like they make products for three-legged dogs, and they could be like the perfect fit for you, even if you have 500 followers. So it's all about finding a brand that aligns really well with you and your dog and your values and everything like that. You know, I've been doing influencer work for years, and over the years, I've taken so many different opportunities, but now I've seen and I've learned that it's really important to only work with brands who share my values. You know, so right now, I'm only going to work with brands who have some kind of sustainability practices, who value diversity in their company, who are interested in dog safety and health. There's a lot of companies out there that are pet brands that don't make healthy products. And so I'm not going to work with them. I'm not going to call them out. I'm just not going to work with them. So, you know, it's important to just find those brands that really align with you. And that's probably the hardest part, is doing that research and finding them. And once you find them, it's just about building a relationship. So, you know, liking their posts, commenting on their posts, kind of getting on a first name basis with them. And then from there, once you have a relationship started, you can ask them, hey, do you have an ambassador program or an influencer program? Or I'd love to work with you in some way. And if they're a larger brand, they might already have an established system for that. So you just got to ask.
That makes so much sense. And I like talking about the different levels, right? Because I want everybody to feel welcome. This is a safe space, right? Like, it's totally okay to just be about your dogs, because I mean, for us, and I'm sure for you, it started off that way, right? And then we all have our different goals or ambitions or whatever, but it just started off with just Disney and I in the backyard. And I was like, I want him to be the best German Shepherd possible. You know, you see all the shepherds on television, and I'm sure you have a little chocolate lab bias, but but I was like, you know what, let's see what we can do. And it's great to see. It was really like about, for us, communication. We've always had dogs and everything. And I was like, I want to get a German Shepherd. And we had Disney in our home from a puppy, and it's just been an enjoyable experience for us. So that's totally okay. But I definitely wanted to touch on that for some folks who are deeper in the space and want to go further. We're going to move to our rapid fire questions, if you don't mind. So I said at the beginning of the show that I believe anything can be learned, but I don't believe that you can educate, motivate, inspire others without doing the same for yourself. So if you don't mind and help me push some knowledge to the people, I'd like to ask you a few questions. And there's no rules with this. It's kind of like just the first thing that comes to mind. And hopefully it's a little bit fun for you. And if nothing comes to mind, feel free to pass. Name something you're trying to learn this year and something that you want to teach. They can be one and the same or something different.
Okay, so I have a lot of hobbies and I love to sew. And one of my dreams is to make a quilt, which I know is like such a Susie Homemaker answer to say, but I've wanted to make a quilt for years, and it just seems like so intimidating to me. So I want to do that. And of course, I was looking up, there's a lot of patterns actually out there that you could like incorporate dogs kind of into. And so maybe it'll be like a dog inspired quilt. Something that I would like to teach, that's a good question. I mean, I guess I could have a lot of answers. Like I mentioned earlier, I just launched a monthly membership program this year. So every month, I actually have already planned out like a topic that I'm going to teach every month. So this month I've been teaching SEO. Coming up soon, I'm going to be teaching storytelling through video. So that I think ties in really well to the conversation we just had. So, you know, I love communicating on video. And so I guess something I'd like to teach is how to help other people be more comfortable talking on video.
Actually, that was one of my 2021 goals, is to become a better storyteller. So we're going to talk a little bit about your membership here in just a moment as well, because I think that's an excellent resource for those seeking some of those things that you were talking about. And I did look at the monthly schedule, and it has some pretty good things that I'm really interested in diving deeper into. Next question: name a favorite pet parent online resource, YouTube or otherwise, that you could recommend to the audience.
Okay, so one of my favorite YouTube accounts is relatively new, and it's called Huskies in the Hatch. And it is one of my dear friends from Instagram from back in the day. Like when I first started growing my account, we had a little group DM of people who were like in the same stage. And now most of us, our accounts have like tens of thousands or even over 100,000, some of them, followers. But this woman, Sonia, was one of the people in that group. And at the time, she and her partner were traveling from coast to coast across Canada with their 3 huskies in the back of their hatchback. And so they took tons of video and photos and all kinds of stuff then, but this was years ago, and I lost track of her. And then last year she popped back up into my life, and I realized they were taking all that content and just now editing it into a video series for YouTube. So they've put so much work into it, and it's like watching a TV show. It's like so good, and just hearing the story of what their dogs mean to them in their life, and just, if you're a dog lover, you'll love it.
Excellent. Hey, we'll link that in the description below for those on YouTube or in the podcast description. Any dog product you would recommend?
Any kind of enrichment puzzle of any kind. I was just this morning looking at, it's like really cool dog enrichment puzzles. Like, you've probably seen the ones where you put the treat and then there's like a door and the dog has to like swipe it open, like these puzzles. There's one in my cart on Amazon right now. So I would recommend that.
Awesome. All right, 2 more. One thing people should consider before welcoming chocolate labs into their homes.
Well, a few things. You have to be okay with waking up early. You have to be okay with having dog hair on like everything. And I think you should probably also work on your upper body strength, because walking them takes a little bit of strength.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Last one. What advice would you give your younger former self just starting off in the pet industry?
Well, I kind of stumbled upon this industry. I didn't set out to be in the pet space. I ended up here. I took like a wrong turn, but it turned out to be the right turn. So I would have told my younger self to get here sooner, because I think I spent so many years trying to work in like the social media world. And before that, I wanted to be in fashion. And before that, I don't even know what I wanted to do, but I would have told myself to start doing this sooner.
Just start sooner. Start now, right? Like, just do it.
Yeah,
Nike got it so right. They got it so right. I do want to talk briefly. Thanks so much for that. I do want to talk briefly about your membership program. I'll place a link, of course, in the description, but can you tell the audience a little bit? We touched briefly on it with regard to some of the subjects you're honing in on from month to month, but just a little bit about your program.
Yeah. So thank you so much. The Wear Wag Repeat Society is the name of my monthly membership program. And I created it because I wanted something that was affordable, that also created a sense of community and accountability, and encouraged everyone to kind of level up their pet businesses together in a really inclusive, diverse space. I didn't see anything really exactly like that out there. The people in my membership are all over the place. Some of them make dog accessories like bandanas and collars. Some are dog trainers and walkers. Some are bloggers, and some are groomers. I mean, it's like all over the place of people in the pet space, including some Petfluencers too. But the way that I designed the membership is that each month we focus on a certain topic. So this month it was all about SEO. Then we're gonna have video storytelling through video. Another month we have, a whole month themed around batching out your social media captions for the next 3 months or something like that. So I designed everything to kind of reflect, one, like what I thought would be good to prioritize each month based on like the flow of the year and what's going on, but also things that if you do all these things in this order and really focus on them for a month, a year from now, your business is going to be in a whole different place. And you're going to have put these building blocks together in such a way that your business is stronger, it's more successful, and you're happier doing it, and you don't feel like frazzled and out of control. So that's kind of what the membership's all about. We have about 70 women. It's all women. Men are allowed, but it's just all women. And we have accountability calls. We have co-working sessions, Q&A calls with me. And then I do a video and like a little PDF download every month about like whatever the theme is and the lesson for that month. So I think it's really cool. It's just started. So I can't wait to see where it goes.
Excellent. And I'll leave all the links in the description below if that sounds like that's something for you. You mentioned the word accountability, and how important and critical is that, right? Like when you have any type of goal, whether it be a dog training goal or something that you're trying to do on the individual, personal, even professional level, to have someone there to say, hey, did you make that post today? Or, hey, are you going and walking in the right direction with regard to what you're trying to accomplish today? And then going through the steps with regard to some of those skill sets that some folks may need a little bit of help on. Search engine optimization is a huge thing. We go back to that buzzword, the different algorithms and working with the search engines and just touching on the topic in a very specific way to really reach the audience that you're trying to reach. So I really appreciate you putting that out into the universe, if you would, and offering that membership for,
I love how you mentioned, business and dog training, because kind of the inspiration for this membership group was also my podcast. So I have a podcast called Wear Wag Repeat, where I interview women in the pet industry. And that show, like the tagline for it is, we're talking business and dogs, and I think it's really fun to talk business with dog people because we just have a different perspective on it than other people. People who aren't dog lovers maybe like don't really get what you're trying to do. So it's nice to just have that community of like-minded people.
Oh, for sure. I love it so much. And with that and community, where are you hanging out these days? We'll link everything, but want to plug your online presence, shall I say, in communities, or maybe your where we can find you at?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're watching this, come find me on Instagram. That is where I hang out a lot. You can either find me at Wear Wag Repeat or at T Mystic, like Tori Mystic. So you can find me on Instagram there. And then of course on Facebook, Wear Wag Repeat. I'm on Clubhouse too. That's where we met. I'm like not really good about popping in there, but if you're on Clubhouse, you might see me just pop in someday.
No, totally. Yeah, I've had to wean myself off of Clubhouse. I mean, I love it, but it can take up a lot of your time. So if you want to get after some of the other things that we talked about, please ration your time on Clubhouse.
People are spending hours, and I could see how you could do that, because I went in the other day while I was having lunch, and then it was like 4 p.m. and I was like, wait, what happened to the day? I've been in Clubhouse all day.
I just want to really just thank you for taking the time out of your day, right, to sit down with us, with the Dingle Days channel, if you would, and what a happenstance encounter on Clubhouse and now on our podcast, just sharing some really great knowledge about Instagram worthy content, but not only that, something really far and beyond that, right? Just reaching into that relationship with our dogs, and then some of the things that folks might want to do professionally, really, with an accountability partner and a program and a membership that really targets them. So I really appreciate that, Tori.
Well, I really appreciate you having me on here. It was so fun to talk to you, and hopefully what we discussed will help somebody. And, like you said, it really goes beyond social media. It's about creating that relationship with your pet. And then I think what you can use with your social media is use it to inspire others to create a deeper bond with their pets. So that's kind of the moral of the story.
You've just listened to an episode on the Dogs Are People Too podcast presented by Dingle Days. If you like this episode, make sure to leave me a review on iTunes and share this episode with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag me at Dingle Days. If you want even more good stuff, make sure to go over to www.dingledaysphotography.com to find the show notes in our blog, and head over to our Dingle Days community on YouTube so that you can connect with other followers of our training methods there. I can't wait to see you there, and thanks again for listening in. Until next time, continue to get after it and share your best life with your furry friend.